Hi, I'm J.A. Rock, and welcome to the Rock and Read Aloud blog tour. From now until the end of April, once a week, I'll be stopping at one of the awesome blogs in our romance community, and they will be hosting a video of me reading aloud from one of my backlist titles. At each stop, you can comment for a chance to win an e-copy of the book that I'm reading from that day. For a complete list of blogs participating in the tour, books and prizes that will be offered, or just to see all the tour videos archived in one convenient location, you can visit www.jarockauthor.com. So I'm really excited about this project, and I hope that you enjoy it too. Today, I'm going to be reading from Calling the Show, which is one of my earlier titles. It's about a college theater program where a very uptight stage manager slowly falls in love with his more free-spirited lighting board operator, and together they explore things like kink and hula hooping, as you do. So I'm going to start at Chapter 1. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks again to all the blogs that are hosting me on this tour, and here is Calling the Show. Chapter 1. Jessie. Chicken pox? I said, not ready to believe the words. Chicken pox? Audra nodded. The Zazu to my Mufasa, she was often the first to hear the morning report at Findlay Theater, since she worked box office from 9 to 11 Mondays. I was unable to arrive until 9:30 when my bioethics class let out. Springer was probably composing an email to me at this very moment, offering her perspective on the situation. Dear Jessie, I imagined it read. The unthinkable has happened. The kid with the tumor was voted off American Idol. Stephen Sondheim has turned to crime writing. Woman has walked on Jupiter. Grady Hairscott has chickenpox and won't be running lights for a bluer sky. As I lay in bed last night listening to the horrible, shrieking grind of reality against my dreams, trying to compose a letter to my loved one saying all the things I always mean to say but never do, ready to plunge into the ocean of circumstance and let myself be dashed upon the rocks of misfortune, I realized something. We're going to be okay. Because I have you stage managing my show. You'll run lights and call the show at the same time if you have to. And while I know that Grady is the finest lightboard operator Hollander College's theater program has ever seen, though he is affable, sure-fingered, punctual, and possessed of cat-like reflexes that allow him to correct an errant cue in a fraction of a second, we will make do without him. Because we have you, the stage manager. Uncredited god of our production, you are an inspiration to us all. Your esteemed director, Springer Lofton. Yes, an email of roughly that ilk would no doubt arrive in my inbox shortly, but for now, I had Audra's intel to go on. Chicken pox. You're sure? I'm sure. Say it into my good ear. I leaned forward, presenting my good ear. Grady has chicken pox, Audra said into it. I nodded. All right. Well, this isn't the end of the world, far from it. I'll run lights if I have to. We can... They already got someone to do it. I blinked. What? They already... Who? Audra, who did they get to run lights? It's not Todd Allender, is it? Audra, tell me it's not Todd. It's a guy from New College. New College? That program they run out of the Paris Hall basement where students make up their own majors? He's a theater minor. I couldn't begin to process this. Audra. Legend has it last year someone from New College graduated with a degree in robotnics. For her senior thesis, she built an animatronic Venus flytrap out of Legos and pieces of an old ham radio. We can't. I repeat, we can't have someone from New College running lights for a bluer sky. Audra shrugged. He seems pretty nice. You met him? I led her over to one of the benches in the lobby. Where? When? Tell me everything. His name's Simic. That's not even a name. Good Lord, do they let them make up their own names in New College too? Is it some kind of cult thing? He told me he liked my top. Are you going to fall for every pinch of flattery someone tosses into the dough of your being? You calling me fat? No, I am saying that for all you know, he could be majoring in diplomatic deception. You can't trust him. Where did you meet him? Upstairs, in Saida's office a few minutes ago. Hey, Audra. I whirled. A boy stood on the stairs that led from the lobby to the second-floor offices, one hand on the wooden banister. He had straight, shiny, sandy hair, and the fringe of his bangs stuck in his eyelashes. His face was going to be perfect in another year, when those last lingering spatters of adolescent acne faded into the creamy pallor of his cheeks. His eyes were... I didn't know what color. Did it matter? Because suddenly my logical mind was dancing a deadly tango with statistics and probability. I knew who this stranger must be. Hey! Audra waved at him. She smiled. Audra only ever smiled at pictures of dolphins, and even then her smile was decidedly understated.
That's Simic.
Simic hopped down the last few steps and approached, holding out his hand to me. He was short. A little shorty McShortson. I wasn't saying this affected a person's ability to run lights, but it hurt his credibility in my eyes, being short and from New College. Simic Wheaton, he said. I shook his hand, not yet too numbed by circumstances to note how warm and fine and fragile it was. Not a light board operator's hand. This was the hand of someone who painted the fingernails of custom-made dolls or tested rejuvenating creams for cosmetic companies. What's your major? I demanded. I don't have one yet. That was too much. You're in New College. Isn't the whole point of New College to instantly declare some whimsical and impractical major of your own invention? He laughed. You're funny. I had not worked my buttons off through 3 years of a theater arts degree to be called a clown. I decided to steam quietly for the moment, though, as I had become distracted by his eyes, which were a very dark blue, like the gel over an unlit Fresnel. I'm Jessie Fearlit, I said finally. Ferret? Fearlit. I turned to Audra. Goodness, I hope we don't have difficulties making each other out in the booth.
That's not a very common last name,
Audra said. She was like the skipper on Captain Obvious's ship. Jessie Fearlit, Simic Wheaton repeated. I'll be running the light board for A Bluer Sky. Do you have any experience with lights? I'm in a theater tech class right now. With whom? Let's see. Andy Welks, Yale Foster, who teaches it? This guy was a few sentences shy of a full paragraph, but what could you expect from an undeclared major in a program whose gross national product was made up majors? Professor Thomas. That's set construction, I told him. That's all but useless to you when you're running lights. She tells us some stuff about lights, though. I just learned what a gobo is. You just learned what a gobo is? He was staring at my chest. Hey, nice shirt. I looked down at my Fair Lady tee from my internship at the Newalla Valley Theater last summer. We did that play at my high school, he said. I brushed some lint off the shirt. Yes, well, I stage managed a pre-professional production of it at Newalla Valley last year. His lack of awe only confirmed my suspicion that this boy was as green as a Prius where theater was concerned. I was going to have to educate him. He had to be perfectly groomed and near encyclopedic in his knowledge of lights by Thursday. And he had missed Tech Sunday. You missed Tech Sunday, I informed him. Yeah, that's what Professor Okavat said upstairs. That's when all the lights and sound stuff gets added in, right? But she said it's okay, since lightboard's not that hard. Not that hard? She said basically you'll say go, and I'll press a button.
I used to do lights, Audra said. It's really easy.
Audra, I said. Are you going to imply to our new colleague that there is no artistry to his work, that he's simply an automaton who sits awaiting my command, that there is no on-your-feet thinking involved, no crises to be averted, no subtle craft to the timing of the press of a button? If it were that simple, my rat Craybill could run lights for every show at Hollander, and Grady Hairsgod could remain in bed with chickenpox for the rest of his life.
It's pretty easy,
Audra repeated. I looked at Simic. Well, there you have it. What do you need me for? I was going to open the door to the library of my mind and let you browse the volumes on stage lighting, but I guess I'll just go to the men's room and then check the prop table. Sounds like you have your job all figured out. Wait, Simic said. I looked over my shoulder at him. He appeared to be fighting a smile, which was annoying and somehow charming, as was his fitted Shiraz-colored button-down that complemented his eyes reasonably well, though a deep violet with more blue than red would have been better. I wondered if he was clever enough to dress himself or if some outfit coordination major in New College did it for him. I mean, who wore a button-down so tight that others began to imagine they could see the faintest outline of nippleature through the cotton polyester blend? I really don't know what I'm doing, he said. Maybe we could both get to the theater early tonight? I will be at the theater already, I informed him. When I am not forced out of this building to attend my non-theater courses, I am here. If you have not arrived by 5 o'clock sharp, I will request a new lightboard op. End of story.
He's always like this,
Audra whispered to Simic. I am always like this, I confirmed, and that is why I have been selected to stage manage 8 of Hollander's last 12 productions. What happened with the other 4? Simic asked. Rhinoceros. I was studying abroad in London. Othello. Chelsea Krupp needed an SM credit to graduate, so they gave her the gig. How I learned to drive, I was set to SM, but stepped down due to a personal issue. South Pacific was the first show of my freshman year, and I still thought I wanted to be an actor. Okay then, Simic nodded. His chin tapered almost to a point, which made certain people look like the devil or Reese Witherspoon, but actually worked in Simic's favor. If he'd had facial hair, it would have been all wrong. He'd have looked like a goat. Any questions? I asked. Simic pressed his smirky little mouth into a straight line. No, sir. My blood jumped oddly at that. 5 o'clock. I pointed a finger at him. I turned and stalked off to the men's room. I didn't even really have to pee.